Dear friends, in my next couple of statements, which will be shorter than usual, I will focus on a few quote-unquote highlights in my criminal complaint. That's the one that I wrote myself. This will happen very shortly. Among those highlights, of course, is my kidnapping, as this is now turning into a truly international incident, even a case of international terrorism, and you will see probably some people get badly hurt by this, but it's their own fault. But I will also take another very close look at the fact that I'm still being held captive in prison, that is in pretrial detention, solely on the basis of an arrest warrant that was debunked as totally 100% false already on November 1st, 2023. But before I do that, I have decided to let you know what your respective countrymen think, to read to you from some of the letters and postcards I'm getting, how they see the situation in their respective countries. This, I believe, will be pretty much in sync with you, how you perceive what's going on in your country. And that will then tell you that we're all of us on track. I'll start today with a letter from a woman from Great Britain who very recently wrote me about what's going on in the UK, but also in Ireland. So here's what she wrote to me. This is only an excerpt, and don't worry, I'm not going to disclose anyone's identity. So this is what she writes. I'm not sure how much access you have to news. If you are limited to mainstream media, I guess you are subject to the same lies and propagandas we're getting in the UK. The BBC is in trouble as people are seeing through their lies and giving up their TV licenses. I don't think that Starmer will last another 4 years, but unfortunately his replacement may be Angela Rayner, Deputy Prime Minister, far left, also known as the Ginger Growler, or Rachel Reeves, trashed the economy, lied on her CV, or maybe David Lammy told up a small fortune of taxpayers' money on private jets around the world, achieving nothing, likened Trump to the Ku Klux Klan, and is now trying to cozy up to him. Kemi Badenoch is useless. I had hopes for the Reform Party, but they are turning out to be like all the rest of the other parties. Rupert Lowe, who was ousted from the Reform Party on false charges, is forming a movement, not a party yet, called Restore Britain. I'm hoping that he will join with Andrew Bridgen, as I believe they are both decent, honorable people. I'll interrupt my reading from that letter because I want to say that I think the same way. I'm friends with Andrew Bridgen, and we decided when I interviewed him that we'll have a beer or two together as soon as I get out of here. I'll continue with that letter. People in Britain are at last waking up to what is going on, at least to government corruption, illegal immigration, and cost of living, maybe not to the darker stuff. People in Ireland are rising up against their government and the illegal migrant situation, as several sexual assaults have taken place. I guess the Irish have more recent exposure in dealing with tyranny, but I don't think that the Brits are far behind now. As I write, there is a huge demonstration in Epping where one of the migrants in the local hotel has been charged with raping a 14-year-old girl. Our Stasi police are arresting peaceful demonstrators whilst perpetrators of crimes are going free. Thank you, two-tier peer. Having said all that, I do feel that the change for good is in the air. The people or entities who are driving this are obviously panicking. They obviously want us subdued and miserable. So I am making it my mission to be happy, raising the vibration, just despite them. So that's the letter from Britain. Here's another one from Australia, which also deals a little bit with Britain. This is from a very well-known academic from Australia. He wrote me this, quoting an excerpt from the New Year message from UK columnist Ben Robin from the Cornish Post. Here's the quote. I think now they can sense that humanity is waking up, and we are rejecting their plans for us. This totalitarian system that they seek to build and to which they seek to subjugate us for eternity. That's their game. We don't want that. Thanks. and they haven't got what it takes to implement it. They are too corrupt, too weak, because their systems require weak, broken people to run them. And somehow, as us plucky rebels, operating on outdated technology, very limited resources, including little money, often under conditions of extreme adversity, under attack by the system, being lied about, gaslit, propagandized. In the face of all that, we've got them on the run. We're calling them out. We're too fast, too agile. And most importantly, we've got truth on our side, and truth is a force of nature. The reason why their system requires so much orchestration, so much infrastructure, so many rules and regulations is because it is built on lies. They need huge global technology platforms and corporate media organizations, clandestine networks, and corruption to hold their system together. But we don't. We have good, honest people armed with virtue and the truth who are in it not for money, power, and control, but for the betterment of humanity, so that we can break free from the dark forces that have controlled us for far too long. And I sense that the tide is turning. Now, my Australian friend then concludes with another quote from the brilliant Julian Rose, one of the founders of organic farming in the UK. Here's the quote. "The crisis we face now presents the most meaningful challenge that mankind has ever faced. It drives us to dig deep and unlock the hidden power within. At this auspicious moment, a previously latent power will rise up in us that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. That turns the timid, silent witness into a courageous spiritual warrior. It is such heroic acts that will finally defeat our oppressors and render we, the people, victorious." So much for those two letters. There's another thing I wanted to tell you, because it's even here in prison, people are changing. They are becoming more optimistic, and miraculously enough, one of the prisoners who expected a 10-year sentence all of a sudden got a sentence of 3 years. So those are the changes that are even visible or physically palpable. And then there's another thing. Even music seems to get better in more than one sense of the word. Instead of techno and rap and all that stuff, all of a sudden we're hearing real music again. For example, Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather. That may be referring to us. Who knows? You know, birds of a feather flock together. And then there's another song, Benson Boone's Mystical Magical, that is probably referring to what is going on. That's the spiritual awakening that even some of the lawyers begin to sense. I think I do. So thank you very much. I will next time probably tell you a little bit about what's going on in France. I'll see you all soon. Bye.